Well, it's Wednesday, and you all know what that means. Well, as you know, in WWE Evolve, Elijah Holyfield gets another opportunity towards Brooks Jensen. As you know, last time he walked away by applying another, well, cheated his way through. But now the real question, will that be a difference maker? Well, we'll just have to wait and see, of course. And then, of course, we have Harlem Lewis as our brand new Evolve champion speaks out for the first time. But however, the Sharks are now in the water. And then, of course, we have our main event, the WWE Women's Evolve Championship. Nikkita Lyons makes her first title defense against the person that she kind of ruined it with the former champion, and that is, of course, Laney Luck. As you know, last time Laney Luck and Wendy Chu had a pretty good match, but Nikkita kind of spoiled it for her. But we'll see what happens as we get there. And then, of course, we move on with AEW Dynamite. There are the go home show for Redemption this coming Sunday. So that's going to be a very chaotic event. We definitely going to go see. And then we'll see how things will roll up because we do have the AEW Women's World Tag Team belts on the line. The Divine Dominion defend them against, of course, the Sisters of Sins, claiming that they have what it takes to defeat them. Well, we'll just have to wait and see how that rolls up as well. So there's a lot of things that are going to take place as we head for Redemption. And then, of course, as always, we wrap up our episode, as usual, with some news updates. Give you guys updates on what's been happening in the world of wrestling, such as what events the promotions are thrown out, who's booked, what matches are set, including developments that are happening in the world of wrestling as we speak. So, let's get ready with another episode of Deleted Wrestle Zone.
Are you ready? Get up, get up. 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 Get up, get up.
Hey everyone, welcome to Deleted Wrestle Zone, all things is pro wrestling with AEW, NXT, New Japan Pro Wrestling, TNA, the National Wrestling Alliance, various promotions, wrestlers, matches, and championships. I am your host, J-Rod here. So, if you are new to the channel, welcome. This is a channel we do a lot of pro wrestling reviews from various promotions, not only here in the United States, but also in Japan, Mexico, Canada, Europe, the UK, anywhere pro wrestling is not as big, but it continues to grow. We will, of course, do discussion videos, talk about various topics such as wrestlers themselves, the promotions, factions, storylines, whatever we want to talk about. We will, of course, do more news updates. If certain information was unable to be on this episode, we can either put it on the next one or on a separate video by itself. We've been, of course, some real-time news updates to keep you guys on alert if something has happened in the world of wrestling that needs to be addressed ASAP. We've been, of course, got the Nike Sayaka Watch and various other cool wrestling content as well. So if you like what you see, please subscribe to us and click on that subscribe button. You'll be getting a lot of daily reviews and other cool wrestling content as well. But if you like this episode, please give us a like on the like button or a nice comment in the description down below. Now, enough of the jibber jabbers, let's get to it. So, let's begin with WWE Evolve. Alright, WWE Evolve. Well, we opened up, of course, where we see Nikkita Lyons, our current and new Evolve Women's Champion, along with Sloane Jacobs doing meditation. Now, of course, Nikkita Lyons now realizes being champion doesn't just mean that you get the finer things. It means you got the Sharks coming after you. So basically that makes her a target. So she has to be well prepared because her opponent is someone who she dealt with in the past, not to mention ruining her opportunity against Wendy Chu, Laney Luck. So we'll see how that turns out. Now our next match, we have, what's his name? Marcus Mathers and Cappuccino Jones taking on Shido Ash and Victor Zonoff. Now these two guys played out as security for Timothy Thatcher, but however, they've been causing but problems and they get their opportunity. While that match was happening, of course, Sam Holloway was by their side watching this, but however, the Mog Squad, being who they are, continue with their usual shenanigans to prove that they are in fact. But however, there is been talks now that the ID 1.0 are falling into dissension. As you know, what happened last time with Cappuccino Jones and Starboy Charlie, that sort of thing has been happening. So we don't know what's going to happen. But however, distractions came around when they took out Cappuccino Jones, but they Zonoff was able to pin Marcus Mathers, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, it was done. Now, Lady Luck, along with certain other ladies in the locker room, as you know, she is ready for battle against Nikkita Lyons, so they all wish her luck for this. Our next match, we have Sam Holloway taking on Dorian Van Dux, and I have to say, it was a pretty good match. These guys are huge dudes, but they don't back down for whatsoever. They went all out with each other. It's like a hoss fight that would not stop until someone's either dead. But unfortunately, this match ended in a double countout. Now, I would not be surprised if there's some sort of rubber match coming in this, but it could happen. So I'm not gonna say any otherwise, but it's a sad, disappointing thing. Now, Tate Wilde, as you know, went to NXT. He thought that his past is behind him, but however, Harley Ringans is not done with him. But of course, now he has to contend with them once again. Now, Harlem Lewis makes his way to the ring, but however, of course, the former champion went down there, as you probably can guess, asking for a rematch. And then we have Tristan Angels, as you know, who feels that he is more entitled to wear that belt because he's good looking and all that, that he knows that the Evolve universe needs someone like him. But however, he's not the only one. So we have Max Abram also making their presence known, that sort of thing, who also wants the belt. Last time he tried it, couldn't pan out, but now he feels this is the time. I wouldn't be surprised if we're going to see a four-way match or something. I don't know, but we'll see. Now, Kill Dixon, along with this other woman, they're doing a photo shoot until they were interrupted by Itzgal, but Itzgal had Kill Dixon does not want nothing to do with Itzgal, so he's felt he left out of it, but we don't know. Now, Elijah Holyfield, as you know, had his dealings with Brooks Jensen, but this time he was well prepared. And of course, Brooks Jensen had to do whatever it takes to take him out, but however, once again, he cheated his way through by rolling up Holyfield and of course using the ropes to maintain the pinfall, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, he cheated his way with another victory. Now, our main event is the Evolve Women's Championship. Nikkita Lyons making her first title defense against Lady Luck. And of course, in the VIP lounge, we have Gianna Capri, who's watching this, who thinks she is high and mighty than everybody else who deserves to be there. And that's exactly what we expected. But however, Nikkita Lyons, as you know, took her out completely, all thanks to Sloane Jacobs trying to be by her side. And she took her out with, of course, the fourth chakra, or whatever it's called. And just like that, 1, 2, 3, she remained the belt. However, PJ Vasa showed up and attacked Lady Luck and used a chair on her ankles, taking her out. But however, some of the ladies was not going to tolerate. Of course, we had Skyla. I forgot who else. There were others too who were not going to tolerate what just transpired. So we did see here there's going to be a 4-on-4 women's tag team match. So that's going to be killer. So I can't wait to see how that. But however, we're done with Evolve. Let's move on with our last review, AEW Dynamite. Well, as we continue, let's move on with, of course, AEW Dynamite. We opened up with a bit of a video promo. As you know, the main event features Will Ospreay, Kenny Omega, and Jon Moxley taking on the members of the Don Callis family. So, of course, Will looked a little bit cheerful how things were going. But you can tell by the look that he does not trust Jon Moxley one way or another. But we'll see how things will progress at the main event. Now, we opened up with the TNT Championship, of course, Darby Allin versus Kevin Knight. Now, what's interesting is no one from the Don Callis family was present. So, of course, now I would have assumed that that would have been a major lie, like Kevin Knight would just cross his fingers and just lie to the teeth. But however, of course, Darby just went ahead and decided to give a vicious beating onto Kevin Knight. And of course, that's something you don't anticipate. I mean, he is resilient. He doesn't give up. He did everything humanly possible. Even Darby tried to put on the pain. However, that did not do any well for him. Of course, um, Darby Allin was taken out with the UFO splash, even when, of course, the referee was out. But, however, um the UFO splash was effective for Kevin Knight to win, and just like that, it was over. Now, as members of Don Callis family comes out because they're preparing for their next match, well, they put out a promo out there, and of course, Kevin Knight is declaring himself that he is going to walk out as, of course, two-belt Jet. However, it seems like once again, Don Callis family are having tension with itself. This is the one thing that, of course, Don Callis does not see, because here's the problem: you have too many alphas in one room, and that's not good. But of course, Don Callis has his head up so far as his ass, thinking that he has everything under control. But however, of course, Kevin Knight said that he will face Bandito without the help of course, of the Don Callis family. So basically, they're going back and forth. But however, right now, Fletcher and Okada have to contend with Brodito. Obviously, things went well on this one, and there was no one present in the Don Callis family. But of course, there are moments where you would have assumed things would have gone in the favor of Don Callis family, but it was in fact a bit of a misfire from Okada. Now, he did the same kind of, how do I say, manipulative, like happy that he took out his tag partner, which is something we've seen with Takeshita. So I don't know if Fletcher can see exactly what Takeshita saw in him. So that kind of sets it up. But however, he was taken out, and then Bandito applied the 21 plex, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, it was done. But however, the real problem now descends what's going to happen next. Even, of course, we won't know for sure, because this is why Don Callis family is no genius. He's a moron. Now, of course, we did see a bit of a vignette coming from Chris Jericho with the Painmaker persona, bringing out the pain and all that, sending a direct message to Tommaso Ciampa ahead of Redemption. So let's see how things go from there. Now, we did see an interview coming from Mick Foley. Tekla, who will be defending the AEW Women's World title at Redemption, will take on, of course, Willow Nightingale. And of course, things got a little escalation. Fights broke out as soon as whatever the words come out. But Willow took care of the matter very well. Our next match, we have Jay White taking on Clark Connor. So basically, we all know how that turns out. Well, remember, basically, there was like that thing with David Finlay going on. However, David Finlay was not present. And I was thinking he was going to show up out of nowhere. But however, Jay White took him out with a submission. But of course, he was going to show up from behind. And he did. He attacked him with the shillelagh like that. But thank God for the Bang Bang Gang. Austin, Ace, Colton, and Juice showed up just in time. So let's see how it progressed there. Now, of course, our current AEW World Tag Team Champions are well prepared for their upcoming title match at Redemption against the members of the Death Riders, Pac and Claudio Castagnoli. However, while they were doing their little video promo, they were brutally attacked by them. So the real question is, can they hold on their tag belts? Because, of course, the Death Riders are determined to reclaim what they felt. They have to control AEW so the fakers and wannabes do not poison the wrestling world as it is. But we'll see how that plays out at Redemption. Now, our next match is the AEW Women's World Tag Team belts in a no disqualification match. Now, as you know, we have been asking ourselves, can anybody defeat the Divine Dominion? The Megasis, Megan Bayne and Lena Cross. Well, we haven't seen so far. We have seen tag teams that might have been close, but not close enough to take down. And of course, the Sisters of Sins made this match in hopes they think with a no disqualification match, they could walk out. But boy, they were wrong. Apparently, they were taken out by the divine intervention onto Julia, and Megan Bayne picked up the win. 1, 2, 3. Adios. Now, we did see the Bang Bang Gang sending a direct message to the dog. So basically, there's going to be this going on really soon. So I can't wait to see that. Now, our main event is Kenny Omega, Will Ospreay, and Jon Moxley taking on the members of the Don Callis family. Jake Doyle, Brian Cage, and Nikkita, who we haven't seen for quite some time. I'm going to presume that he also was dealing with visa issues, just like Clone, Beast Mortos, and Commander, of whoever else has been involved. But yes, but it was a pretty good match, not to mention there was a bit of a miscommunication going on from the Omega, Ospreay, and Moxley. But however, we did see a combination of the V trigger and the hidden blade onto Nikkita, but it was Kenny Omega that made up the pin. However, we did see a bit of dissension between Omega and Jon Moxley, but however, they were attacked by the Don Callis family, but the Jet took out Kenny Omega, sending a direct message saying he is walking out as the AEW World Champion. But we will see what happens this coming weekend. Luke's outside. Oh, not at the door, but... Oh, I think Max is in the bathroom. Yeah, he hides there from Max. I mean, from Luke. Alright, so welcome to our news updates. So we only have, of course, more of the upcoming events, so let's get started. And I think majority of it is GCW. As you know, we have the Rude Awakening taking place on August 1st in Minneapolis, which is going to be SummerSlam weekend. We have Marcus Mathers taking on Avery Styles, the son of the legend of AJ Styles. So you probably can guess this will be an amazing match to watch. Then we have the 20 years of Bad Boy that'll happen on the 6th of August in Asbury Park. It was announced that the King, MDK, of course, Nick Gage, will be there too. We have the Homecoming Part 1 event that takes place on the 15th of August in Atlantic City. They announced the GCW tag team belts will be on the line. Bustin' the Brain will defend them against KJ Orso and Sam Stackhouse. And then there's this thing called the Chola a Chain match. Viper's taking on Christian Napier. I don't know what the hell is that all about. And then, of course, we have the No Signals in the Hills. They'll take place on the 12th of September. Hook will be participating. Now, that's pretty much it for upcoming events. Now, we do have an interesting development. Now, as you know, recently we had some wrestlers that were released from WWE. We have, of course, the Pirate Princess Kairi Sane, Andrade, and a few others. Well, apparently they are now officially free agents. So it's still unclear who is going to be out. Now, I do know Zoe Starks is one of them too. But let's see how things will go from there. So we'll leave things as it is. But as of right now, let's call it a day. Well, I hope everybody enjoys this episode. Coming up, well, I'm going to be doing a special episode real soon, of course, with the Stardom Grand Prix events that happened recently this past weekend. I'll do those by itself. That one will not have any news updates, in case anybody asks. I will do the same thing with the G1 Climax soon enough. Now, of course, this weekend is going to be a little difficult, but however, our next episode will be TNA and Ring of Honor. Now, we'll do another TNA Evolve. I did not know there was a Tuesday special from Ring of Honor, so we'll see how things go from there. But so I'll see how things go. But for right now, that's how it is. Until then, I will see you guys in the next DWZ time, same DWZ channel. I must bid all of you adieu. So goodbye, and have a nice day. Bang.